The deserted cry. The wind blew softly across the burned lands of Virelia Prime. Black smoke still rose from broken buildings. Ash covered everything like snow. The war had ended here just one day ago, but the pain still lived in the air. Deep, in the ruins, a weak cry echoed from under fallen stones. It was not a call for help. It was the soft, desperate cry of someone too weak to scream. Underneath a half-broken wall, an alien woman lay on her side, her belly round and heavy. Her skin was a soft lavender, glowing faintly in the dark. Sweat covered her face. She was breathing fast, her lips dry and cracked. Her name was Nalira, and she was seconds away from giving birth. Her people had left her behind. They called her child a shame. They said it would be impure, part human. The elders ordered her exile when her pregnancy became clear. No one came to help when she screamed. No one looked back. Shiko had crawled for hours through broken streets. Her knees bled, her arms trembled. But now, she couldn't move anymore. The pain was sharp. Her body was ready. The baby was coming. But there was no one to help. "I don't want to die," she whispered. And then, footsteps. Someone was coming. She tried to turn her head. Dust filled her eyes. She blinked and saw a figure walking through the smoke. It was not an alien. It was a human, tall, wounded. His uniform was torn. A gun hung by his side. He moved slowly, like someone running from death. His name was Ethan Briggs, a soldier from Earth. He had been part of the strike team, but now he was alone, separated during the final battle. His comms were dead. No team, no orders, no food. He stopped when he saw her. Ethan raised his weapon. Instinct. But then he heard it. A soft, painful cry. Not from her mouth. From her womb. She was pregnant, almost giving birth. Their eyes met. Hers were filled with fear, but also something else. Hope. She didn't speak, but her eyes begged him. "Please. Not for me. Save my child." Ethan stood still. He had fought aliens, lost friends to them. He had reasons to walk away, but something in her face reminded him of his sister. Of that night back home when his sister almost died giving birth, and he couldn't do anything to help her. He lowered his gun. Are you alone?" he asked, slowly stepping forward. She nodded. "Do you speak English?" Yes. A little," she gasped. "You're in labor?" "Yes," she whispered. "It hurts. Too much. I can't move." Ethan looked around. Drones could come. Enemy soldiers might still be hiding. He knew every second spent here was dangerous, but he couldn't leave her. Without another word, he bent down and gently lifted her into his arms. She was light, but he could feel her pain with every breath. She moaned softly, her head resting against his chest. Her hands shook. "Hang in there," he said. "I'm getting you out of here." "I'm not the enemy," she whispered. "I know." He walked fast but carefully through the ruins, holding her tightly. The fires around them had died down, but the ground was still hot in places. He found a half-destroyed hoverbike under a broken roof. It barely worked, but it had enough power. He laid her on the seat, tied her with his belt, and climbed on. "Hold on," he told her. The engine groaned. Sparks flew. The bike lifted just above the ground. As they flew through broken streets, Nalira cried out in pain. "It's coming," she said. No, not now, just hold on, please." He looked up. Drones in the sky. He swerved through alleyways, avoiding the main roads. His heart pounded. If they caught him with an alien woman, one about to give birth, he would be branded a traitor. But none of that mattered. He wasn't thinking about politics. He wasn't thinking about war. He was thinking about her and the life inside her that didn't ask to be born in war. After 20 minutes of flying, he reached an old bunker, once used as a medical station. The door was half broken. But the place was safe enough. He carried her inside and laid her down gently on a soft patch of cloth. The lights flickered. Dust filled the air. "You're safe," he whispered. "We'll figure it out." Her hand grabbed his wrist. "Why are you helping me?" He didn't answer. Instead, he looked her in the eyes and said, "Because nobody else did." And in that dark, broken room, Nelyra screamed again. The baby was coming. Escape through fire. Ethan's hands trembled as he wiped the sweat from his forehead. The air inside the old bunker was thick and hot. Outside, the ground shook every few seconds, not from earthquakes, but from distant dropships landing nearby. War might have moved on from this zone, but death still walked its ashes. Inside the bunker, the alien woman Nelyra lay on her back, gasping. Her glowing skin was pale now, almost gray. Her body shook with pain. Her baby was coming too fast. "We don't have time," Ethan muttered, pacing in panic. "I don't even know what to do." "I can't hold it," Nelyra said through clenched teeth. "The baby, it's trying to come now." Ethan looked at the half-working med scanner on the wall. Dead. No power. He had only bandages, an old flask of water, and one trembling hand to help her. He looked into her eyes and knelt beside her. "Tell me what to do. What's normal for your kind? What should I expect?" She shook her head. "This is not normal. Human blood changed things." Her body tensed again, and she let out a sharp cry. Ethan had faced battlefield explosions. He had stared down monstrous war beasts. But the sound of her pain was something different. It made his chest ache. Suddenly, red lights blinked above the door. Motion detected. 3 targets. Approaching, the AI announced. Ethan stood up instantly. "They found us," he said in a low voice. Nelyra tried to move. "Run. Take the child if it comes. Save her." He looked down at her and shook his head. "No, I'm not leaving you behind." There was no time to argue. He pulled out a small plasma charge from his vest and rushed to the door. He set the charge by the entrance and adjusted its delay. Boom! 1-minute timer. Then he rushed back to Nelyra. Her legs were trembling. Her hands gripped the cloth beneath her. "It's coming," she whispered, voice cracking. Ethan moved quickly. He had no training in childbirth. All he had was instinct and hope and fear. Then it happened. One more scream, and then a sound filled the room. A cry. High-pitched. Alive. Fierce. The child was born. A baby girl, glowing like starlight, tiny. Tendrils wrapped gently around her own arms. Ethan's eyes widened. "She's beautiful." Nelyra smiled weakly. Her breathing slowed, but there was no time to rest. Outside, metal footsteps approached. The plasma charge exploded with a blast, shaking the bunker. Dust fell from the ceiling. The door held for now, but not for long. "They'll break in," Ethan whispered, grabbing the child and wrapping her in his jacket. "We have to move." "I can't walk," Nelyra said. "You must go." "No," Ethan said firmly. "You're coming too." With strength he didn't know he still had, he lifted Nelyra over one shoulder and held the baby close to his chest with his other arm. The bunker had a back tunnel, old, cracked, but it still led to the surface. As Ethan moved through the dark tunnel, sparks flew from the walls. The ceiling cracked and the floor shook. Behind him, the front door burst open. Loud alien voices shouted into the room. "They're tracking us." Ethan hissed. He reached a dead end, then saw a ladder leading up. The tunnel exit had been sealed with rubble, but light peeked through the top. "I'm getting you out of here," he said again. He placed the child safely into his pack, cushioned by his shirt, then climbed with Nelyra on his back. Every step was a scream of pain in his muscles. But he didn't stop. With one last push, he reached the top and kicked through the rubble. Cold air hit his face. Stars above. Wind in his hair. He was free. For now. He helped Nelyra out, then pulled the baby from his pack and placed her gently in her arms. Nelyra cried softly. You You gave her life. No, Ethan said. You did. I just stayed. Suddenly, a shot fired near them. A plasma bolt sizzled past. They were seen. Ethan turned sharply, eyes burning. He stood, in front of Nalaira and the child. No more running, he whispered. Let them come. No safe place smoke still drifted behind them as Ethan carried Nalaira and her newborn through the night. The stars above blinked coldly, uncaring. The world they walked on was cracked and broken, just like everything around them. Nalaira was, too weak to walk. She clutched her baby tightly, whispering soft alien words, rocking her gently as they moved. The infant's skin shimmered in the moonlight, violet with glowing blue veins. Beautiful and strange. Ethan's arms were burning with pain, but he didn't stop. He kept walking through the ruined valley, boots sinking into ash and rubble. Every sound made him freeze. He knew they were being followed. Somewhere behind them, the alien bounty team was tracking his scent. They won't stop, Nalaira whispered. They want the child. They think she is dangerous. Ethan glanced down at the baby. She's just a baby. To them, she's proof of betrayal. I broke the law of bloodlines. Ethan's grip tightened on his rifle. Then they'll have to go through me. He spotted a broken pipeline ahead, sticking out of the ground like an iron skeleton. A half-open vent below it looked like an old maintenance shelter. Small, maybe forgotten. It was the best they had. We'll rest here, he said. He climbed down into the vent first, clearing out old metal junk and bugs. Then he helped Nalaira down. She winced as she sat, clutching her child to her chest. The place smelled of rust and oil. The air was cold. But it was hidden. Safe. For now. Ethan sealed the vent with a piece of metal and sat beside them. For a moment, it was quiet. Then the baby started to cry. Not loud, just soft, tired sounds. Ethan watched, still, amazed. You know, he said slowly, she doesn't look like either of us. She looks better, stronger. Nalaira gave a small, tired smile. She is the future. Half human, half Ilari. Both our worlds would destroy her for that. Ethan looked down. Then I'll protect her. Both of you. Silence fell again. Nalaira's voice broke it. Why are you helping us? You don't even know me. Ethan leaned back, staring at the broken ceiling. Because I've seen too much death. Too many people left behind. I swore to myself if I ever had the chance to save just one, I would. She watched him closely. No human has ever said that to me before. I'm not like most humans, he said with a smirk. Suddenly, a sharp click echoed from outside the vent. Ethan froze. Another click. Closer. Then a drip. And then another. They're here, Ethan whispered. He stood up quietly, rifle ready. He didn't fire. Not yet. He placed his hand over Nalaira's, gently, and whispered, Stay quiet. Stay hidden. He climbed up silently and peered through. A crack. 3 figures moved in the dark, scanning the area. Alien bounty hunters. One had a robotic arm. Another had glowing red eyes. The leader wore a hunter's cloak, moving with calm, deadly steps. They weren't guessing. They knew someone was here. One of them paused right above the vent. Ethan held his breath. The hunter crouched down and scanned the ground. His red eyes glowed brighter. His fingers touched the dirt, then froze. A baby's cry echoed faintly below. Ethan reacted instantly. He pushed open the vent and rolled out, firing his rifle toward the red-eyed one. Sparks flew. The bounty hunter fell back with a shout. The other 2 spun around. One fired a shock dart. It missed Ethan by inches. Ethan ran. He led them away from the vent, away from Nalaira and the baby. He dove behind a broken wall, reloading, fast. His hands were shaking. The robotic-armed hunter shouted, Give us the hybrid human, she is not yours. Ethan shouted back, She is now. Gunfire lit up the night. Back in the vent, Nalaira hugged her baby close and whispered, You chose a strange protector, little star, but he's brave. The birth under stars. The stars above blinked like tiny fires in the cold night sky. But for Ethan, the world below was burning. He sprinted across the ruins, dodging laser blasts that lit up the ground behind him. Each shot meant one thing. The bounty hunters were getting closer. But Ethan didn't look back. He had one job now: draw them away from Nellara and her newborn daughter. His boots slammed against broken steel. His breath came out in hard gasps. His ribs ached, but he didn't stop. "Keep chasing me, you bastards," he muttered. "You're not getting that baby." Behind a fallen tower, Ethan dropped into cover. He pulled out a tiny object from his belt, a flash grenade. It wasn't much, but it would buy him seconds. Seconds could mean everything. He checked the shadows. 3 of them, one in a cloak, one with a long barrel rifle, one with that metal arm. Ethan whispered, "Come on, come closer." The grenade flashed like lightning, a blast of white light. The hunters shouted and fell back. Ethan fired, hitting the rifleman in the leg. The others dove for cover. That was his chance. He ran again. But this time he doubled back, heading toward the vent. He couldn't stay away too long. Nellara had just given birth. She was too weak to move far. And the baby, still new, still fragile. By the time he reached the vent again, he was limping and bleeding from his shoulder. He dropped inside and landed with a grunt. Nellara gasped. "You're hurt." "I've had worse," he said, brushing off her concern. "We don't have time. Can you walk?" She looked down at her child and shook her head. "I can try, but not far." Ethan's heart pounded. "Then we need another plan." He searched the vent using his small torchlight. Metal, pipes, old coolant tanks. Then, a miracle, a half-functional drone, an old service unit, dusty but intact. Ethan quickly powered it on. It buzzed weakly. The screen blinked. "Still breathing," he whispered. He placed the baby carefully into a padded crate on top of the drone, securing it. "She'll ride here." Then he knelt beside Nellara and helped her up. "Lean on me." The drone hovered, a head lighting the way with its soft blue glow. It moved slowly, quiet as a whisper. They followed it out of the vent and into the open. And that's when it happened. The clouds above parted. For the first time that night, the moonlight fell clearly, and under that silver light, under stars that seemed to hold their breath, Nellira's baby opened her eyes. They were not like human eyes, and not like Alari eyes. They glowed gold, like fire trapped in crystal. She looked around with quiet curiosity, as if the stars themselves had sung her awake. Ethan stopped walking, his breath caught. "She's beautiful." Nellara smiled weakly. "She sees things. Already. She's special." A gentle wind passed through the dead trees. The baby reached out one small hand to catch it, as if she could feel the air dancing. Then a voice echoed from the shadows behind them. "Step away from the child." Ethan turned sharply. The bounty hunters had found them again. This time they didn't fire. The one in the cloak stepped forward. His voice was cold and calm. "That infant is a threat to both our species, a child of war, of shame. We've been ordered to destroy it." Ethan raised his rifle, shaking with rage. "Then you'll have to kill me first." The bounty hunter nodded. "We expected that." And the battle began. Laser blasts flew. Ethan pushed Nellara behind a rock and fired, shot after shot. One of the bounty hunters fell, screaming. The other rushed forward. But the drone suddenly buzzed into action, releasing a small shock burst. It hit the attacker in the chest, long enough for Ethan to take the final shot. Silence returned. Only one hunter remained. The cloaked one. He stepped slowly toward them, ignoring the weapon in Ethan's hand. "You don't understand what you've done," he said. "That child will bring war, not peace." Ethan stood tall, blood running down his arm. "I don't care. She's innocent." The hunter raised his weapon, then a sound stopped him. Not a cry, not a scream. A song. The baby was humming. No one had taught her. But her soft sound filled the air like wind through crystal. The hunter froze, his weapon lowered. In that moment, something changed. Even a killer knew this was no monster. This was life. The soldier must choose. The wind stood still. Time seemed frozen. The last bounty hunter, the one in the black cloak, stared at the baby glowing softly in the drone cradle. The child's golden eyes looked back at him without fear. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She sang, a strange hum, not loud, not sharp, just soft and calm. It filled the night air like a quiet breath from the stars. Even Ethan, standing between the hunter and the child, felt something shift in his chest. For a second, the war didn't matter. Orders didn't matter. Race, blood, history, nothing mattered except this moment, but it didn't last. The cloaked hunter raised his weapon again. "She is not meant to live," he said, voice colder than before. "She is a threat to balance, to law. You've seen it too. She's not just a baby, she's something new." Ethan's hands tightened around his rifle. He looked at the child, then at Nalira, weak, bleeding, barely standing. Her eyes met his, silently begging him. "Please, don't let them take her," he stepped forward. "No. I've made my choice," Ethan said. "You're not taking her." The bounty hunter tilted his head. "You are one man, one gun. You can't protect them forever." "Maybe not," Ethan said. "But tonight you go through me." For a second, silence. Then the hunter moved. Fast. Ethan fired first. A burst of red light flashed across the sky. The hunter dodged, rolled, and fired back. His plasma bolt hit Ethan in the side, burning flesh. Ethan groaned but didn't fall. He dove behind the drone, shielding the child. Nalira screamed from behind the rocks. "Stop! You'll kill the baby!" The hunter ignored her. His aim was locked now. Steady. Final. Ethan struggled to his feet. Blood dripped from his jacket. His vision blurred. But still, he aimed. His heart pounded. He didn't think about Earth, or the army, or the punishment that would come. He only thought about her. That small girl who looked at him without fear, who had never known hate, who only hummed to the stars. He fired. The hunter was fast, but Ethan's shot was faster. It struck the alien's shoulder, throwing him backward into a rock. The cloak fell. The hunter gasped and dropped his weapon. Ethan limped forward, holding his side. "You don't have to die," he said through clenched teeth. "But you're not touching them." The hunter looked up, breathing hard. He seemed to hesitate. Then, he looked at the baby one last time. "I hope I'm wrong," he whispered. And then he pressed a hidden switch on his belt. A teleport pulse. He vanished in a burst of green light. The fight was over. Ethan dropped to his knees, barely holding on. Nalira rushed to him, dragging her injured body beside his. "You're hurt badly," she whispered. "I've had worse," he muttered. "Is the baby okay?" "She's safe. Because of you." Ethan smiled faintly, then passed out. He woke up hours later. Warmth. A blanket. Quiet humming. He opened his eyes to see Nalira beside him, holding his hand. Her baby lay sleeping in the drone cradle, wrapped in Ethan's jacket. "You saved her," Nalira whispered. Ethan blinked. "You're still here." "Of course," she said. "We're not leaving you." He tried to sit up. "They'll keep coming, won't they?" Nalira nodded. "Yes, both your people and mine. They will fear her." Ethan looked at the baby again. She didn't choose to be born. She didn't choose this war. "No," Nalira said, "but you chose her. And now, by our law, that makes you her guardian." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Guardian?" "In my people's tradition, the one who saves a child at birth becomes part of her soul, her protector, her blood." He stared at the child, now sleeping peacefully. "I was never a father," he said slowly. "Never thought I could be." "You are now," Nalira said, laying her hand on his. "And to me too. You are more than just a savior. Blood for a future." The sun was rising over the broken horizon of Virelia Prime. Light spilled over shattered towers and smoking hills. It looked peaceful from a distance, but peace was an illusion. Inside an old fuel depot hidden beneath metal wreckage, Ethan sat with his back against a wall. His wound had reopened, blood soaked through the cloth on his side. Every breath was like fire. Nellera sat beside him, the baby in her arms. The child slept unaware of the danger. Her small hand curled gently against her mother's chest. "She needs food," Nellera whispered. "Real warmth. Safety. I can't keep her alive. Alone." Ethan coughed, wiping blood from his mouth. "We'll find a way. There has to be somewhere." "No. They'll keep coming. You saw what they were willing to do." Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. He could still hear the cloaked hunter's words. "She is not meant to live." It haunted him. But then he looked at the child. Sleeping. Breathing. Glowing with life. How could something so small be so feared? Suddenly the depot shook. A low boom echoed in the distance. Ethan forced himself up. That wasn't thunder. Nalira held the baby tighter. Dropships, a full scan sweep. He looked through a broken panel. 4 ships, military grade. Not bounty hunters this time. These were human forces. His own people. He turned back. "They'll find us in minutes." "What do we do?" Nalira asked. Ethan stared at the floor, jaw clenched. "I'll go out first, pretend I'm alone. Give you time to slip through the vents, head for the canyon. There's a rebel shelter under the cliffs. You'll be safe there." Her eyes widened. "No, I won't leave you." He touched her hand gently. "You have to. You and the baby. You're the only future that matters now." She began to cry. Silent tears rolled down her cheeks. Ethan stepped forward and kissed the baby's forehead. "You stay strong, little one. You're going to change the stars." Then he stood up, picked up his rifle, and walked into the sunlight. The soldiers were already landing. They spread out across the wreckage, scanning heat signatures. Ethan stepped forward with both hands raised. His face was pale. His armor was cracked. His side bled freely. A young officer shouted, "Identify yourself." "Private Ethan Briggs, Earth Command, Code 35 Alpha." His voice was hoarse. A second soldier aimed a scanner at him. "You've got foreign plasma in your blood. You've been in contact with alien life." "I survived a battle," Ethan said flatly. "My unit's gone." A high-ranking captain walked up slowly. His armor was cleaner, his eyes cold. "You've been listed as MIA, missing for 48 hours, and we've been tracking an illegal hybrid energy signal. You know anything about that?" Ethan didn't blink. "No." The captain stared. "Funny, that's not what the satellites say." He stepped closer. "You've seen the child, haven't you?" Ethan said nothing. "We want it. The lab wants it. Command wants it. You want to make this easy?" Ethan's voice hardened. "It's not a weapon, it's a baby." "That's not your call anymore." The soldiers raised their weapons. Ethan gripped his rifle tight. He could fight. He could fire first, but he wouldn't survive it. He didn't have to. Suddenly, from behind a wall of rubble, an explosion. Dust flew. The depot's ventilation tunnel burst open. Out stepped Nalira, holding the baby close. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She walked slowly and carefully toward Ethan. The soldier shouted, aiming weapons. "No, stop!" Ethan screamed, running toward her. A soldier panicked and fired. The plasma bolt flew and hit Ethan in the chest. He fell. Nalira screamed, dropping to her knees. The baby cried out for the first time, not a hum, not a song, but a sharp, piercing scream that echoed across the depot. The soldiers froze. Machines malfunctioned. Scanners broke. Energy levels spiked, beyond anything they'd ever seen. And then silence. The baby's cry stopped. Nalaira crawled to Ethan, tears running. He was still breathing, barely. His hand reached for her. "Did I buy you enough time?" "Yes," she whispered, holding him. "You did more than that. You gave us a future." He smiled faintly. "Good." And his hand went still. A new home, a new bond. The wind carried silence over the smoking depot. Soldiers stood frozen, weapons half raised, unsure what to do. No one moved. No one spoke. The baby lay quietly in Nalaira's arms now, her golden eyes watching them, not with fear, but with deep, strange calm. Her cry had broken sensors, fried comms, and stopped the march of war for a single, unforgettable moment. And now, all she did was look. The captain of the Earth Squad removed his helmet. Slowly, his hands were shaking. "She did that?" Nalaira nodded. "She's not just Ilari, she's not just human, she's something new." Another soldier whispered, "She's dangerous." "No," Nalaira said. "She's alive. And her voice broke as she looked down at Ethan's still body. He gave his life to protect that. They didn't know what to say. This wasn't part of their mission. They weren't trained for this. A baby that could stop weapons with a cry. A dead human soldier who gave everything for an alien. And in that confusion, Nalaira stood up. Blood still ran down her leg. Her body trembled from exhaustion. But she held the child high in both arms, her voice strong. "I will not run anymore. This child will live. She will not be hidden. She will not be hunted. If you wish to harm her, then start with me." No one moved. Then a single soldier lowered his weapon. Then another, and another. The captain looked around, defeated. "What are we going to tell command?" One of the medics stepped forward. "Tell them the truth, that a soldier gave his life for peace, that a child was born who made us all stop." 2 weeks later, in a quiet valley on the edge of human territory far from the eyes of war, a small home was built. It wasn't much. A shelter, a garden, a safe place. Nalaira stood on the porch, her baby wrapped in a handmade blanket. The child was stronger now. She no longer cried often. She smiled. She reached for birds. She hummed at flowers. She was learning the world slowly, with wonder. They called her Ilara, a name that combined both human and Ilari roots. "She is both," Nalaira would say. "Two stars in one sky." Every day Nalaira told Ilara stories of a man named Ethan, how he walked through fire, how he carried a stranger on his back, how he protected a child with nothing but courage. "He wasn't just your guardian," she'd whisper. "He was your father, not by blood, but by heart." Years passed. Ilara grew quickly. Her powers faded into the background, gentle and quiet. She spoke both languages. She laughed easily. But when she placed her hand on the earth, the wind would sometimes change direction. When she sang, animals would stop to listen, and on one quiet night she asked her mother, "Will I ever meet him?" Nalaira's eyes filled with tears. "You already have. He's here." She touched Ilara's heart. "Every time you choose. Kindness over fear." Far above them, in the stars, a memorial satellite quietly blinked in orbit. On it was written, "Private Ethan Briggs, the man who protected the future." The end.